On today's episode of The Walking Dead, after a long crippling journey, we finally made it to Savanna. As soon as we got here, Clementine asked me for her walkie-talkie back, but as famous artist J. Cole once said, "Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, can put the blame on you." So I told her no.
Don't ask me again, okay?
Because if you don't remember, Kenny and I discovered that she was talking to someone in Savanna. So for all we knew, we could have been walking into a trap, and I couldn't let that happen. Because as a leader, it's my duty to keep everyone safe. And so when this lady asked me if we can sit down and relax for a second because this crippled man's leg was hurting, I told her no, because we had to keep moving. I couldn't let this man hold us back. The streets were quiet and empty, but then all of a sudden, a bell rang in the distance. I looked up to my left and I saw an assassin running across the rooftop. I couldn't believe my eyes, so I had to call him out.
Hey!
Hey! Hey, you up there!
Damn it!
Just
keep quiet!
make our presence known.
But the only response I got was from Clementine's walkie-talkie. Some stranger told us to get off the street.
Who the hell is this?
Were they trying to save us? Were they trying to warn us? I don't know, but a horde of zombies came around the corner, and we were pretty much fucked at that point, so I told everyone to run. So we all scattered like cockroaches. Chuck was a total unit. Kenny was sprinting, but then he ended up falling like an idiot, so there I was, helping him. But then I turned around to see Ben and Clementine getting cornered by a bunch of zombies. So Lee told Ben to save Clementine, but he just saved himself. What a piece of shit. What the fuck is wrong with this guy? Me being the hero that I was, I shot every zombie in the head, but for some reason this last shot wouldn't hit, which was bullshit. Doesn't matter though, because Chuck came around to save Clementine, an absolute hero in my eyes. He told us to keep going and he would distract every zombie, so that was totally cool with me. We ran and found safety.
What an idiot.
So while Kenny was trying to open the door, I thought it was a perfect opportunity to talk to Ben.
You put that girl in danger again.
I kill you.
It won't be walkers you have to worry about.
Yes.
I hear you.
We were trying to figure out how to get inside this house, and our only option seemed to be this little doggy door. So I grabbed a shovel and I dug out the deceased dog.
Okay, that is not cool.
And then this lady threw up because of the smell. But honestly, I don't think that's the case.
I'm putting down my theory now. This annoying lady is pregnant.
We got the collar and unlocked the tiny little door, and Clementine quickly crawled through the door like a little gremlin, and thanks to her, we got inside the house. So I guess she's not useless after all.
I never doubted you. God damn it, get back here.
God damn it, get back here!
For the most part, we were all doing pretty good, except for this man. I may or may not have had something to do with that, but that is beside the point. Krista was freaking out about whoever was on the other end of that walkie-talkie, and Kenny was freaking out about the bells. They felt as if someone was stalking us. So me being the leader of the group, I suggested that we should all just rest up instead of worrying about all these problems. Because the way I see it, out of sight, out of mind.
Let's rest up and not find Chuck.
Anyway, Krista and I were interrogating Clementine to find out who the mystery man was. Krista was playing the role of a good cop, and I of course played the role of the bad cop.
Clementine, Krista asked you a question, and both of us would like an
so
answer.
aggressive.
Who have you been talking to?
He said he was a friend. He said he could help me find my mom and dad.
He
I
lied to
told
you.
him we were looking for them in Savannah.
You're so naive.
Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to interrogate her properly because Ben came downstairs calling out for help. Kenny was up in the attic not wanting to come down, so I went to go and see what was going on. I saw this man on his knees, vulnerable and weak. What caused Kenny to shut down like this? Well, I'll tell you, it was a malnourished zombie. Kenny was pretty broken from this because he never got a chance to finish off his son. I did it for him.
You sorry ass piece of shit.
I gave Kenny the opportunity to redeem himself because deep down, I'm a nice person. But he didn't have the guts to do it the first time, and now he was too scared to do it the second time. So rather than him wasting my time, I decided to do it for him.
God, ugh. Oh, that's so nasty.
I buried the youngling right next to his deceased dog, and as I was shoveling away, some stranger appeared from the shadows.
Hey! Hey!
I'll kill you.
You come back here, I'll kill you! You understand? I'll kill you!
Just be so aggressive.
So at this point, it was a great time for Kenny and I to go out to the docks to find a boat to get out of here. Once we got to the docks, the bell rang once again.
Oh shit.
Kenny and I hid, and once the coast was clear, we walked to the docks. There was absolutely no boats in sight, so we were screwed. Kenny was basically in denial and said he could fix this boat.
This boat is fucked.
Kenny, get a grip. This boat is totally fucked.
Afterwards, I was scouting around to see if I could find any actual boats that worked, but there wasn't any in sight. But what I did manage to find was the the assassin once again. So I told Kenny to hide and we came up with a plan to sneak up on this person. But Kenny had other plans. I snuck up on them quietly, but then they magically disappeared and snuck up on me. And so now I was facing death. And the one person that saved me was Clementine.
Please, don't hurt him!
Because Kenny was nowhere to be found this entire time. What the fuck was he doing? This lady thought we were from this place called Crawford, which in summary is basically a super awesome group that gets rid of the weaklings such as children, elderly people, and sick people. They get turned into kebabs. Kenny finally decided to show up and she nearly killed him, which honestly she would have been doing him a favor. Turns out she was actually the one ringing those bells just so she can search certain areas of the city like a complete genius. But since Kenny's gun did go off, all those zombies that she lured away ended up coming right back. So once we turned around, she was gone. She was saving herself, and honestly, I couldn't blame her. She nearly left us to die, but unfortunately, Clementine cried out, so she had a change of heart and decided to save us. Clementine made it up, and Kenny made it up, and now it was my turn. But as I said in the last video, Kenny cannot lift for shit. So I was running around panicking. This lady tossed her little thingy, and I opened up the sewers, and I hid down there. My new mission was to get out of here. So like the genius that I am, I solved a few puzzles and made it past some zombies. And what I found next was completely devastating. I saw Chuck. He had turned into a fine meal for these zombies. I guess after saving everyone, he ran into the sewers and used his last bullet to off himself. Rest in peace, Chuck, the only badass of this team. Anyway, I tried doing the exact same thing Molly was doing with her little pickaxe, but that didn't really go according to plan. Luckily, however, I did find a way out of the tunnels. It turns out that this fallout shelter belonged to these group of people. They were all pretty much startled by my presence, and me being the civilized person that I was, I tried to keep the peace. But this Karen accused me of being from Crawford. She was stirring the pot and trying to convince this old man to kill me.
Why not? Be more of a mercy than anyone from Crawford ever showed us.
At this point, I knew that peace wasn't an option.
You threatening me, old man? Because you're not gonna like how that goes. Put the fucking gun down before you really make me mad.
Lee knew that this man wouldn't shoot. He knows a killer when he sees one. I took his gun, and now I had the upper hand. I asked questions, and I found out that these were all refugees from Crawford. They didn't want to die, so they left and formed their own community right here. So this doctor, Vernon, helped me find my way back to my group. At first, they didn't want to, but with a little persuasion, they had no choice.
You son of a bitch!
And we were all reunited once again. Since he was here, he took a look at this man's leg. Kenny was getting hammered because he had lost all hope. Outside, I found Clementine in the shack, and luckily, she had found a boat. And once Kenny saw it, he found hope once again. And with hope in mind, the entire group decided to come up with a plan to infiltrate Crawford and steal their supplies, because we needed it far more than they did. We needed medicine for this doctor, gasoline, and a new battery to start the boat. So we all agreed that we should sneak in tonight. Clementine was scared because she didn't want anyone to die. But let's be realistic.
That could happen.
And then she said she wanted to tag along for the journey because she had hope that she would find her parents in Crawford. And although I believe that they probably aren't even there, I decided, yeah, sure, why not? This seems like a safe mission for a child. So while we were all getting ready to go on this mission, Kenny pulled me aside and told me that there was only limited space on the boat, so one of us would have to stay back. My first pick would be Ben, but that's later's problem. Right now, everyone is disagreeing about Clementine coming along for the journey, but I am the leader of this group, so their opinion means nothing to me.
She's coming. Deal with it.
So we made it to Crawford undetected, and as soon as I saw a guard, I snuck up on them. But this wasn't just any ordinary guard. He was a zombie. So I went John Wick on his ass, and every zombie in the vicinity heard it and started coming after us. So we ran and found shelter inside this school.
Do you think they saw us?
Definitely.
Definitely.
Clementine is regretting this. You're scared, Clementine.
Even though there was a lot of zombies in the area, this was actually in our favor. Now we didn't have to deal with armed guards, just a bunch of stupid zombies. So we found a map and came up with a plan. Kenny and his Karen paired up to go get gas. This old man and Krista paired up to go get medical supplies, and that left Molly and I to go get a battery. And poor old Ben had to stay back and try to open the armory door. No one wants to be with this liability. Speaking of liability, I left Clementine here to stay with Ben.
You're leaving me with Ben?
I should also note, Ben was starting to feel guilty about what he's done. Back at the motel, he was the reason why Duck got bit, which led to Kenny's wife offing herself. So with this burden building up inside, he really wanted to tell Kenny. I agreed with him, but right now is not the time.
I hear you. I'm gonna get back to this.
He's such a child.
Anyway, I went outside to find Molly, but instead I was met with a jump scare. Molly was the culprit. She came down and started beating on this zombie, almost as if it was personal.
He ain't shit now.
But besides that, time was ticking. All these zombies found us, so we quickly made it inside the garage, and now my mission was to find a battery. After some scavenging, I used Molly's little axe to bring down this car, nice and slowly. I pulled out the battery and we were off. Once we were on the roof, Molly did some parkour and called me a chicken.
What did you call me?
Just get offended.
Now that you mention it.
I was no goddamn chicken, so I took the leap of faith, and I made it. We finally made it back, but Molly had other plans. I guess we just had to wait for her. Kenny and this Karen rushed through the door with a bunch of zombies behind them. I helped them keep the door shut with this axe that I found, and we were safe for now. I eventually went to go check on Krista and the old man, but to my surprise, somehow a bunch of zombies got in the building, so once again, there I was, saving the day. I went inside, and the medicine that we needed was locked behind a safe. So now my new mission was to find the code for the safe. I found a tape recorder, and after doing some scavenging around, I found 3 tapes. And basically, the reason why everyone here was a zombie was because this pregnant lady didn't want to abort her child. So instead of listening to the doctor, she straight up stabbed this man. And because of her, everyone in this vicinity turned into a zombie.
More importantly, we got the combination.
Why are you crying? I'm just not gonna.
Krista, this isn't the time.
But regardless, we ended up getting the code and got what we needed. These 2 left, and now I was left with 1 more tape. I played it, and Molly and this doctor were having a bit of an exchange. She offered him some company, and in return, he gave her some medicine for her sister, who was very sick. But unfortunately for her, the doctor said that was the last time, because the higher-ups in Crawford were cracking down on his shit. So that explains all this rage and anger. So on the way back, I found Molly, and I confronted her about everything. I told her that I knew she was from Crawford, and she lied. She gave me her whole life story about how Crawford eventually came and took her sister away. How sad. But honestly,
I don't care about your life story, Molly.
And maybe you shouldn't have asked.
we heard a bell ring in the distance, and now we had to get out. So on the way back, Ben turned the corner and nearly killed us with this weapon that he found. This absolute idiot. So Molly took action and started taking them out like a complete badass. But then suddenly, it was up to me to save her. But I wasn't the one that shot. It was Clementine that saved the day. I guess all that training was useful after all. So once we made it back to the group, Ben thought it would be a perfect time to confess to Kenny.
Fine. Go ahead. Tell him.
He told him everything, how he was the reason that Duck died and that his wife died. So Kenny lost his shit and wanted to kill this man.
I agree with you. You should kick his ass.
I was all for it, but right now, we had to get out of here.
If this asshole thinks he's getting on my boat after what he did, he's out of his motherfucking mind!
We all eventually came to a vote to leave Ben behind because he has been the biggest liability so far.
Don't I get a vote?
No.
No.
What about the rest of us? Don't we get a say?
Finally, I never liked this lady. After all, she did try to get me killed. So this was the perfect opportunity to run away. On the way to the roof, Kenny found a shotgun and gave it to me, so I started blasting every zombie, and after nearly dying, we finally made it up. Everyone was making their way out, but then, as luck would have it, some zombie was hanging on this bell and grabbed a hold of Ben. And of course, I did the right thing. I did what any sensible person would do. I let this man be a nice, delicious snack for these zombies. Like I said in the beginning, J. Cole once said, "Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, go fuck yourself." We made it back to the safe house, and everyone but Clementine agreed with my decision to let Ben die. It doesn't matter though, because I am the leader of this group. But not all leaders are good leaders, because this man disagrees with my actions and my decision making. So much so that he gave me an offer. He would take Clementine off my hands. If I really cared about her, I would agree with him. But honestly, who the fuck is this man? I don't know him. I just kidnapped him. So I told him no and spat in his face. He left angry, but that wasn't my problem. I saw Molly and she said that she was out. Whatever though, I'm sure she could survive on her own. And now I want to go find Clementine.
Where will we go?
Wherever Kenny says, it's up to him.
We'll go wherever Kenny says.
She asked me if we would ever go out to find her parents, and I did the rational thing, and I had lied to her.
Sure. We'll look before we leave.
Just lie to her.
Really? I knew you didn't really mean it.
She didn't take it so well and started crying, and while she was weeping, I thought this was a perfect moment to take a nap. And then once I woke up, she was nowhere to be found. Lee was panicking and he ran outside to find her hat. Lee jumped over the fence and found Clementine's walkie-talkie on the floor. I approached it slowly, but unfortunately, I met my demise. I was bit. No. Not me. What have I ever done wrong to deserve this? The entire group came out trying to find me, and I decided to show them my bite. I told them about Clementine, how she had probably been kidnapped by this old man, and now, more than ever, I needed their help to go and get Clementine. Krista and Omid were on my side. Surprisingly, actually, after all I've done to them. But Kenny, man, this piece of shit, he didn't want to be on my side after all that I've done for him.
You know what, Kenny? Go fuck yourself. You gonna let a little girl die because I didn't have your back every damn minute? Maybe you should grow the fuck up. Do whatever you want, asshole.
Whatever, don't need that guy. I had my new friends, for now. We went back to Vernon's hideout, but it was empty. Just when all hope was lost, my walkie-talkie went off. Turns out, whoever had Clementine wasn't Vernon at all.
But if I were you, I'd choose my next words very carefully.
You're fucking dead.
But I guess we'll find out next episode who this mystery man is. So until then, it has been I, Hoodatouille. Thanks for watching.